A live shot now of the Superdome here in New Orleans, the home of the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, who meet the Pittsburgh Steelers today in a preseason game, have rekindled a fiery passion this city has for the game of football. Under Coach Jim Morrow, they gave the long-suffering Saints fans their first ever winning season in 1987. Now the talk is not of the playoffs, but all the way. The Steelers know what that's all about. Under head coach Chuck Noll, now in his 20th season, they have been there, the Super Bowl, and they have claimed the title on 4 different occasions. They, too, have lofty goals for '88. Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, home of the New Orleans Saints, who today meet the Pittsburgh Steelers in their final preseason action. And this ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Pontiac, we build excitement. And by Kellogg's Cracklin' Oat brand. The sweet, crunchy taste means an open box is an empty box. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, and welcome to the Superdome, the final preseason game for both ball clubs. And the New Orleans Saints bringing a 2-1 preseason game in against the Steelers, who are also 2-1. But the New Orleans Saints are coming off their first winning season in the 21-year history of this franchise, and it was a great year indeed, a 12-3 season. They'll go against the Steelers, who were 8-7 last year. The Steelers now, for 3 consecutive years, not getting into the playoffs. They think, however, they are vastly improved. And we're looking for a good football game, but it is being played with a sad backdrop. I think the entire world of sports knows that Art Rooney, one of the most beloved men in all of sports, passed away this past Thursday. The chief, the patriarch of the Pittsburgh Steelers at the age of 87. And for Art Rooney, Lynn Swann, who will be with us during this season at halftime, is there live. Of course, Lynn played for Mr. Rooney for 9 seasons during the glory years, the 70s for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll be going to Lynn at halftime, and he will be talking to some of the luminaries, some of the dignitaries that have come to Pittsburgh to pay their final respects to one of the great men of sports, Art Rooney Sr. And, of course, immediately following the game, we are, as a tradition, going to bring you the Little League World Series of Baseball. That, of course, from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Let's go there now and join Al Trotwig. He'll call the action. Al?
Well, Frank, the fans began arriving 2.5 hours ago for a game that is still 3.5 hours away. Some traditions that you mentioned are very strong still. Pin trading, for one. Some of the members of Pearl City, Hawaii, were dousing their French fries in ketchup and trading pins just a short while ago. This stadium, of course, will be filled, watching and wondering whether Pearl City can somehow break the long string of Taipei, Chinese Taipei, who has another strong team here. 4 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC's Wide World of Sports. As football ends, as football begins, Little League ends. Frank?
Okay, Al, we'll be waiting also to see if the Americans win because our sport has been dominated by the Asians, so to speak. Getting back to the football, the Pittsburgh Steelers and New Orleans Saints. The Saints coming off a great year. I think there is promise for even a greater year for them. But, Al, I don't know whether the optimism that the Steelers have expressed to us is really real. I don't quite see it.
Frank, I don't know what to make of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. We know they were the team of the 70s, obviously, with 4 Super Bowl championships. Jack Ham and Joe Green are already in the Hall of Fame, and others will follow. The household names, they had Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, the aforementioned Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, and Blunt, and Shell, and Webster, who's still here, and all of the rest. But what about the Steelers right now? They've had some success during the 80s. They've been to the playoffs 3 times. But not in the last 3 years, as Frank stated. It's a team really bereft of stars. So who's to carry them back to some semblance of glory? Well, they're pinning a lot of their hopes on a third-year quarterback, a very cocky and confident quarterback by the name of Bubby Brister. But in 2 seasons, he's played in only 4 games, and over his brief career has completed just 35% of his passes. But he's the man. Chuck Noll says he'll go all the way today, and he'll begin the starting lineup when they begin the regular season next week against the Dallas Cowboys in Pittsburgh. How about the Saints? Last year, the rallying cry in New Orleans was, who dat going to beat them Saints? And not too many teams beat the Saints last year, Dan. They were 12-3, second best regular season mark in the league. How good is this team now?
I think it's solid, Alan. If you use the word transition to describe the Steelers, I think you also have to say concerning the New Orleans Saints that they are solid. 12 wins a year ago. Will they win 12 this year? Probably not. Will they be a better team this year than last year? Probably so. From top to bottom, this organization is solid, led by Jim Mora, their coach. Looking at some of the recent problems they've had, they were going relatively smoothly until Reuben Mays 11 days ago walked out of training camp, their Pro Bowl rusher for 2 straight seasons. He is now back, and with only 1 day practice, Jim Mora told us just about a half an hour ago that he's going to play Reuben Mays this afternoon. The other guy to look for, their #1 draft choice, Craig Ironhead Hayward. So the running game, the thing to watch today for the New Orleans Saints.
And so these two teams, each with a mark of 2-1, wrapping up their preseason schedule. We mentioned that the Steelers are home next week against Dallas, and the Saints begin against the 49ers right here. Now, for the Saints, Morton Anderson, generally regarded now as the premier field goal kicker in the league, and a pretty good man on the other side as well, the unrelated, and of course it's even spelled differently, Gary Anderson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it could be a battle of the kickers today as Anderson kicks off. Rod Woodson and Dwight Stone back to receive for Pittsburgh. Woodson ran the opening kickoff back 70 yards last week against the Giants, and he'll have no chance here as Morton Anderson puts it through the end zone, and the Steelers will begin from their own 20-yard line. Pittsburgh looking for more big play capability this season as Bubby Brister, who went to school at Northeast Louisiana and grew up in this state, so for him a homecoming of sorts, albeit in a Steeler uniform. Pollard and Abercrombie will start. We'll see a lot of shifting back there. They hope that Lips can stay healthy this year because he is a big play guy. Number 83, Gothard, is the tight end. Steelers 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, and they begin with Pollard, the veteran, picking up about 3. Stopped at the 23-yard line. The guys up front for Pittsburgh, and the man in the middle, number 52, Mike Webster, who has 4 Super Bowl rings, 36 years old in his 15th season. A rookie at left tackle, John Jackson. Terry Long, Tunch Ilkin on the right side. And they're the men who will try to lead the way for the bevy of Steeler running backs, none of whom really has breakaway speed. But some solid people back there, and they're trying to work in some new players as well. Right off the bat, Jumpy Geathers, and they're pinning a lot of hopes on him at one of the defensive end spots. He's shaken up on the very first play, so a timeout on the field.
That's one of those looks, I would say, where they are trying to see if maybe the bell was not rung. They are taking a long look at him to see if he can get his thoughts together. Wild collision there on that very first play, but indeed he is the man that the Saints are counting on to give them an additional pass rush this year. It's going to be help from the field.
Frank, of all their defensive linemen, Geathers is their best pure pass rusher, and I sure got the feeling that he's going to be the starter on opening day instead of Bruce Clark, which is saying something in and of itself. And this guy right here, well, they've already sent out for the casting for his bronze in the Hall of Fame. One of the greatest centers ever to get down over football in this league, Mike Webster.
So Brister to take the snap from Webster on 2nd down, and a fumble and a loose ball at the 25-yard line, and the Saints have it. Walter Abercrombie fumbling the football, and New Orleans takes over to the chagrin of Chuck Noll, beginning his 20th season as the head coach of the Steelers. Watching his man Abercrombie cough it up on the second play of the game. And so New Orleans in business at the outset as Brett Maxey comes up from his safety spot to recover the fumble.
Walter Abercrombie, a guy the last couple of training camps, people in the Pittsburgh area felt was a man on a bubble. And I think the same thing is true this training camp. And this certainly doesn't help his cause. The handoff looks solid from Brister. It was right in his midsection, and Abercrombie, for whatever reason, just didn't control it. And Brett Maxey, the Saint that comes up with the ball.
Bobby Hebert leads the Saints Up to the line of scrimmage, the 25-yard line of Pittsburgh on 1st and 10. And Hebert, who will play the first half, back to throw, has a man open in the end zone. Whoa. Touchdown, Eric Martin. He beat Delton Hall, the cornerback, and takes the pass from Brister, and just like that, the Saints, in their home debut for 88, score to make it 6-0 on a 24-yard pass to Martin.
Very simple on a first down. He was a big third down receiver for them a year ago, but this was a man-for-man lockup against Delton Hall, and he just sprinted right by Delton Hall, and it was laid in there absolutely perfectly by Hebert.
Delton Hall took a shot at Martin back at the line of scrimmage, overcommitted a little bit, as Anderson's extra point is right there, but Delton Hall took the chance. When you miss a wide receiver, the advantage goes to the offense, and New Orleans converted easily, 7-0.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality, of Beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
You build a house with wood and nails, but a home you build with love. Soon the Hansons will raise their children here. Put pictures of them up on these walls and see their oldest coming down these stairs, going on her first stage. That's why only one paint will ever be good enough for this home. Benjamin Moore. They wouldn't use anything less, not on something that means this much. Would you?
When something means so much, see your Benjamin Moore dealer.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road.
There is still an affordable car that comes well-equipped right from the start. Pontiac Le Mans. There is still an affordable car that's exciting to drive. Pontiac Le Mans.
Get on your Pontiac and ride. Pontiac ride.
And if you're a qualified first-time new car buyer, you can still get one for just $57.99. Pontiac Le Mans.
Get on your Pontiac. We build excitement.
Jim Mora, the very youthful-looking 53-year-old head coach of the New Orleans Saints, guiding them to their first ever winning season last year. Great success in the USFL. And Bobby Hebert, a native of Louisiana, who also played in the USFL, helping guide this team to the second-best regular season mark last year, throwing a touchdown pass on his first effort of the game today. And now Morton Anderson to kick off with a second time. His first went through the end zone. His second comes down to the goal line, where Dwight Stone brings it out to the 22-yard line. And so again, the Steelers, who coughed up the football on Abercrombie's fumble, have a first down.
Let's take a look at how a touchdown happens. Here's Eric Martin and Delton Hall up here at the top. But watch how the Steelers have over-rotated their secondary. Here's Cornell Gowdy, their strong safety, and their free safety, Thomas Everett, clear over to the one side. And leaves both cornerbacks at the top, man coverage. And you have to wonder why the Steelers over-rotated their defense. I guess they were playing the run, and boy, did they get burned. Hall locked up with single coverage, and Martin beats them easily.
7-0, New Orleans. Abercrombie goes in motion, and Brister's first pass of the game is a completion and a first down to Lewis Lips. Lips had two great seasons in his rookie and sophomore years, and then in the last 2 years he's been hurt, and his production has really tailed off. But they're hopeful that he can get it back together and give them the big play they're looking for. Defensively for the Saints, and with Geathers hurt, Clark is in there with Elliott and Wilkes. Their linebackers are terrific. Jackson, Mills, Johnson, and Swilling may not get a lot of publicity, but it's an up-and-coming bunch. And the secondary, Dave Waymer's been around a long time through the lean years in his 9th year out of Notre Dame at one corner. On first down, Abercrombie hit behind the line and gets just about back to the line of scrimmage. He is stopped at the 36-yard line. Brett Maxey coming up after the initial hit by Pat Swilling, the brilliant linebacker from the outside in his 3rd year out of Georgia Tech, and an up-and-coming star. He's almost there at this point.
Well, he had 10.5 sacks last year to lead the Saints, and this is a guy who's got such good size in that 245 range. At they'll put him down at defensive end in the nickel situations, Frank.
And on the other side, it's not bad either. Ricky Jackson, anytime Pro Bowler. They're not hurting at all a linebacker.
I think next to the Giants, it's the second best unit in the entire league.
2nd and 9. Brister to the 50-yard line. Lips makes the catch, another first down. That's next to the Giants with Carl Banks.
With Carl Banks. And without Carl Banks, this is probably the best unit in the league. And wait a minute, everybody's going to go, well, what about the Chicago Bears? You always think of Bears when you think of linebackers, but you got to think of Wilbur Marshall being in Washington, and you have to think of Otis Wilson now, maybe being out for the entire season.
And but the Steelers, you think positively, offensively, when you have Lewis Lips back in the lineup, and he is, as Al mentioned, been missing and sorely missed over the past couple of years.
Abercrombie trying to turn the corner and can't. Wrestled out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Coming up was Atkins from his safety spot, along with Van Jakes, number 22, 2nd and 10.
You know, they talk about improving this defense, and we talked about Swilling over on the right side, who will play that position on the right side, the weak side more often than not. And this is the way Swilling will work his way free from Gothard. Gothard, the tight end, trying to get the block. He stretches it out, and that's exactly what he's supposed to do. Ride it all out, and then you're going to get help, and he got help from the inside and the outside.
That was Craig Wolfley, number 73, the guard. Good job getting all the way to the outside of Gothard and putting Swilling on the ground.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Brister with a deep drop sets up the screen for Abercrombie, who gets a block, gets inside the 40 for a first down, taken out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Mike Webster threw that block to Springham, and that's 3 consecutive first downs now for the Steelers.
If there is one mitigating factor for Abercrombie, and we talked about his problems, perhaps even making this ball club this year, is the fact that he is a good receiver. Led the Steelers a couple of years ago in receptions. And looking downfield is Brister, nobody there, and dumps it off quickly to Abercrombie, and then the former number 1 draft pick out of Baylor does his thing. Good running back, gets the first down.
Steelers at the same 32-yard line. Brister trying to be heard above the din here at the Superdome before about 60,000. Pump fake on a roll. Brister throwing incomplete, throwing behind the intended receiver Preston Gothard as he improvised. The pressure put on by Ricky Jackson.
Oh, and he wanted to go deep to Louis Lips, who got knocked off by the veteran defensive back Wayne Waymer at left cornerback, but Louis Lips had run an out and down, and then Waymer puts it to him. Brister had nowhere to go but to scramble. Here is Lips again. Waymer is doing the coverage. There's a little hesitancy, and that should draw a flag against him. You cannot hit that receiver 5 yards after he travels 5 yards down the field, but again, Waymer knew it was 6 if he didn't.
2nd down and 10. Pittsburgh at the New Orleans 32-yard line. Brister, pressured from the backside, sets up the screen again. A flag is thrown. Gothard takes it for a first down to the 19, but there's a marker. Sam Mills makes the tackle.
You're going to have an illegal lineman downfield. John Jackson, number 65, the left tackle, was a good 3 or 4 yards downfield when Brister finally got rid of the football. That's a timing play, that screen. Happens. Whenever that happens, you're going to get caught.
Downfield on the pass, number 65, offense, 10 yards, still 2nd down.
You can see this real easily. The screen is timing all the way, and Jackson here at his left tackle is supposed to come right down the line of scrimmage. When Brister gets over here and has to scramble, he's going to find himself downfield already trying to make the block.
Jackson, of course, the rookie, trying to make the team as a starting left tackle over on the left side, and he had trouble against the Giants a week ago also. And that time he just didn't take the beat. It's something you have to work on, but it's something you also have to do, Dan. Well, you've got to be everything there.
What a lineman has to do, Frank, is turn around and look at the ball carrier. He can't be looking downfield. He's got to look over his shoulder to the ball carrier.
On 2nd and 20, Brister faking left, throwing a post deep, and nearly intercepted by Waymer. Incomplete, intended for Louis Lips, but great coverage that time by Waymer. And Lips almost became the defensive back at the end of the play.
Well, a good offensive wide receiver turns into a defensive back when he fields the interception. Now, Waymer obviously is the pigeon today. They plan on working on. He had good position. He's been around a while. Not great speed, but it was Lips who stuck a hand in there and perhaps knocked it away.
Why did Lips jump back to the outside there? It looked like he had the inside position on Waymer, but then he jumped back to the outside and gave Waymer the inside.
And, of course, he was led to the inside. He would have liked to have that straight upfield. He might have been there.
It looked like there was some confusion between Lips and Brister as to where the ball was supposed to be.
3rd down and 20 now from the 42-yard line.
Look out.
Brister hit down to the 49-yard line. Pat Swilling.
He's the one.
Poor John Jackson, the left tackle. He had a tough go of it last week playing against the Giants and another 56. This guy's name was Lawrence Taylor. And here comes Swilling around the corner. You just can't give the guy that short lane, and he made it look easy.
And without a huddle, the Steelers bring their punt unit out there and get a great bounce as Harry Newsom has pinned New Orleans deep in its own territory. Downed by Dermontti Dawson, a 45-yard punt. Saints 7, Steelers nothing early in the first period.
There are still a few cars you can buy for under $6 grand, including this new import, Pontiac Le Mans.
You feel excitement. Yeah, ride Pontiac. Get on your Pontiac and ride.
And if you're a qualified first-time new car buyer, a brand new Pontiac Le Mans can be yours for just $57.99.
Get on your Pontiac. We feel excitement.
When he's working, when his work is done, a man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
The Super Steelers, could there be a better way to describe the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 1970s? Unparalleled success as the Steelers went on to win 4 Super Bowls. A lot of the names, household names, but above all, we'll all remember the name of one man, Art Rooney Sr., founder of one of the greatest franchises in the history of sports. And Chuck Noll and the entire Pittsburgh Steeler organization in terms of players and coaches here today as the funeral takes place in Pittsburgh. And again, we'll have a report from Three River Stadium. Lynn Swan is there coming your way at halftime. New Orleans takes over as Dalton Hilliard carries out to the 10-yard line. Hilliard right now would be their featured running back. Reuben Mays, we'll get into that story shortly, is in uniform. We'll see some action after walking out of camp. They also have, of course, the heralded rookie Ironhead Hayward from Pittsburgh, who will play fullback this year, the 260-pounder. But Hilliard is a guy who can run, can catch, was very prominent in the offensive scheme of things last year. And there's Hayward, number 45. A look at Keith Gary lining up at defensive end as Hebert leads the Saints to the line of scrimmage, 2nd down and 6 from the 10-yard line. And here's Hayward out of Pittsburgh, running against Pittsburgh, taking it out to the 13-yard line. And some scuffling going on right now as Lonzel Hill gets into it with Delton Hall for a brief moment.
Boy, Delton Hall's never seen any action in there, has he? If you see a confrontation and the Steelers are playing a ball game, chances are that Delton Hall, number 35, their second-year corner, is involved. Let's see if we can pick it up. This is Lonzel Hill, and, well, Delton gives him a little shot, a little throw, and a point. We're going to... That's not much of anything. These guys are all padded up.
Preseason skirmish. Shotgun. 3rd and 2. Hebert has it knocked down knocked down by Cornell Gowdy, number 29, who came up initially with Dallas and played with the Steelers during the replacement games last year and earned a spot and is in the starting lineup today.
As I look at Delton Hall and the way he's playing back there, I think of what Chuck Knoll told the three of us yesterday afternoon about if he wants one thing, he wants the Steelers to become more physical all across the field.
Hansen with a low kick fielded at the 48-yard line by Lewis Lips. And Lips gets hit as he brings it back to the 40. The ball comes loose after the whistle. Vaughn Johnson makes the tackle. And the Steelers are in good shape at the 40 with 8:49 to play in the first quarter.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road.
There is still an affordable car that comes well equipped right from the start. Pontiac Le Mans. There is still an affordable car that's exciting to drive. Pontiac Le Mans.
Get on your Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride.
And if you're a qualified first-time new car buyer, you can still get one for just $57.99. Pontiac Le Mans.
Get on your Pontiac. We build excitement.
You've just been caught knocking off the Kellogg's Cracklin' Oat Bran. How do you handle the consequences?
Did you eat all the Cracklin' Oat Bran?
Who, me?
Did you eat all the Cracklin' Oat Bran? Did you eat all the Cracklin' Oat Bran?
I didn't do it. I did not do it. No, absolutely not.
With the crunchy sweet taste of Kellogg's Cracklin' Oat Bran, an open box is an empty box.
Up here, you catch 'em with experience. And when you got 'em where you want 'em, you head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Bush.
How are those horses doing? What horses?
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
Premier drama from 17 years in the future.
Now what? Let's do it again.
Where Mad Max left off, Badlands 2005 begins Monday.
The Superdome in New Orleans, where the Saints lead the Steelers by a score of 7-0. 8:49 to play in the first period. And the Pittsburgh Steelers with the ball at the New Orleans 40-yard line. Walter Brister, known as Bubby, so named by his 5 sisters when he was growing up here in Louisiana, will go all the way at quarterback, and he turns and gives the ball to Frank Pollard for a gain of 3 to the 37-yard line. The Steelers, for years following the retirement of Bradshaw, were led by Mark Malone, and then finally the Malone era ended when Mark was sent away to San Diego for an 8th-round draft choice. They acquired Todd Blackledge from Kansas City during the offseason. Chuck Knoll said it was an open battle for the #1 quarterback spot, and Brister has won it, and he's played most of the preseason. 2nd and 7. Brister rolling and throwing, and Lips can't hold it along the sideline. Juggled it out of bounds. 3rd down.
Waymer again, the intended victim of Lewis Lips, and Chuck Knoll talked several times yesterday when we had a chance to visit with him about a big play offense. He talked about the way they would go about it, and one of the ways they can do it is the mobility of this man, Bubby Brister, and of course the return of Louis Lips, who had actually run a turn-in, and as Brister was able to roll out, took it to the outside and almost got the completion for the 1st down. But the big play is going to be the use of the mobility of Brister, getting out of the pocket, a rolling pocket, and that's what they plan to do, and they work hard at it in practice.
3rd and 7 from the 37 with Luigi Thompson going in motion. And the pass for Thompson, incomplete. Led him a bit too much. He was shy of the 1st down anyway. Coverage on the play from Milton Mack, and the Saints to kick. Or the Steelers to kick to the Saints with Harry Newsom coming in, and he'll stand at his own 48-yard line.
As an offensive team, that's when you go to the sidelines. Really disappointed when you start a drive on your opponent's 40-yard line, and the best you can do is come up with 3 yards. That just doesn't happen very often, getting that kind of opportunity, that kind of field position.
Newsom angling it for the coffin corner, but it won't get there. Into the end zone it goes for the touchback, and the Saints will take over at their own 20-yard line with 7:58 to play in the first quarter, and the Saints on top by a score of 7-0. So the preseason winding down. Each of these teams playing its final game. The regular season begins next week. And what a gem for you on our season premiere. And notice the special time, an hour earlier, 8 Eastern time. That's Labor Day night, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. The Redskins and the Giants. In fact, this year, our first 4 games, all of them in September, will begin at 8 Eastern time, 1 hour earlier than normal. First and 10. Saints from the 20-yard line. Hayward tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Coming up to make the play, number 91, Greg Carr, the fourth-year linebacker out of Auburn.
And you notice where Carr went after Ironhead. Not up around the head. He went right for the ankles, and that's the place to go on Hayward. A good open field tackle that time. Great Carr.
Particularly when you're outweighed about 30 pounds.
Whoa. Al, you and I saw Hayward in the locker room this afternoon, and he does not look 260.
We were surprised. He looks as if he weighs maybe 235, 240 tops. On 2nd and 10, Hebert skirting the sideline and turns a short loss into a decent gain out to the 27. It'll be 3rd down and 3, run out of bounds by Freeman and Nickerson. But the Saints, no doubt, hopeful of working Hayward into their lineup often, and he'll be a big part of the Saints attack this year.
Hebert, of course, only 9 interceptions a year ago. You're going to see a lot of that out of Hebert. He won't throw it up there for grabs. The moral philosophy is to move the ball, keep the possession of the ball, move it on the ground if you can. Don't make the mistake yourself. Don't beat yourself. And it paid great dividends for them a year ago, along with the defense that was ranked 4th in the league.
3rd and 3 from the shotgun. Steelers nearly jump, but get back onside. No flags. Hebert has protection. Lofts one for Martin, and he can't make the catch at the 46-yard line. Rod Woodson, the cornerback, covering on the play. So Martin, who scored the only touchdown of the game, can't haul this one in, and New Orleans to kick.
Woodson, the number 1 draft pick of a year ago that held out till October a year ago. And he's starting today for Dwayne Woodruff, who pulled a hamstring yesterday. But great potential for this young man, who really is in his first training camp.
Hansen, booming, deep kick, lifts, backs up, fields at the 18-yard line. Has no blocking and gets buried at the 27-yard line. Great kick, 54 yards, 7-yard return, 6:59 to go in the quarter, 7-0 New Orleans.
Introducing a light potato chip with a country fresh flavor. New Pringles Light Ranch. And guess what it's missing?
A lot of the fat in their regular potato chips.
But you'll never miss it.
And it's missing a lot of their salt. But you won't miss it.
New Pringles Light Ranch, made with sour cream, buttermilk, and herbs for so much country fresh flavor.
You'll never miss what's missing.
It's a nice horse. Just ease off on those brakes a little.
Number 419, Kathy Todd, riding 2.
Congratulations. Anyway, John, we'd like to take her to Seoul. She'll train with the best.
I'll miss her.
John isn't going. Doesn't have the money.
We could help.
Mrs. Todd, your trip to Seoul is all set.
I need to add Kat's trainer.
Not good enough. Keep trying. Now, if you need any help, we have mobile offices near the game sites. Or call us day or night. Yes, that's it.
Wonderful.
Okay, Kath. Let's have some fun.
Helping in ways that no one else can. Membership has its privileges.
The Washington Redskins take on the New York Giants September 5th on the season premiere of ABC's Monday Night Football.
The only way to kick off your week.
If you missed anything last night, Bengals won over New England. Giants lost at Cleveland. They finished 3-1 in preseason. Minnesota beats Miami. The Raiders knocked off Chicago. A lot of turnovers for the Bears again last night. Young throws a late TD pass as San Francisco beats Seattle. and the Rams knock off the Chargers. Here it's 7-0 New Orleans. Pittsburgh with the ball as Abercrombie carries forward for a gain of 2 out to the 29-yard line, and it will be 2nd down and 8.
Something about wearing number 56 and playing outside linebacker. It looks so natural, and Pat Swilling staying in position, not losing his feet. Notice the way he played off the block without going down, kept his feet, kept his position, and put his hat on a ball carrier. Textbook.
2nd and 8 from the 29-yard line.
Look out.
They're under pressure. Buried. Swilling.
Well, this guy can take it home. If I'm Jim Moore, I say, go take a shower. You're ready for the start of the season. Can he get upfield for a big guy or what?
That'll be tough on your quarterbacks, wouldn't you say, too, Dan? That's a blind side for right-handed passes, which they predominantly are. Terry Long tried it this time. It didn't have any effect on the great athlete that Swilling is.
Well, that's a blocking scheme that's just not going to work. They're pulling a guard, the Steelers, all the way out of a formation, trying to come all the way across it and pick up Swilling.
And probably pulling that guard to cover for a weakness of left tackle in John Jackson.
And you saw where he rated last year with his 10.5 sacks. And I'd venture to say a lot of you don't know who Pat Swilling is.
You will soon. 3rd and 18, and Thompson, who turned around late, covered well on the play. Brister throwing early, and Thompson looking back as the ball was just about in his area and incomplete. So Brister comes off. Noel says he's going to go with Brister all the way today. They have Blackledge as their backup quarterback, and they also have Steve Bono, who played during the replacement games last year, as the number 3 at the moment.
And they better take care of Pat Swilling in the Saints defense, or he won't be out there all day.
Brett Perriman, the Miami rookie, is back. Good kick, fielded at the 31-yard line, and down goes Perriman back at the 28-yard line. Tackled by Dwight Stone after the kick by Newsom. 5:43 remaining in the quarter. Mean Joe Green, now the defensive line coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Hall of Famer right there.
And a man who was personally crushed by the loss of Art Rooney Sr. And for those of you, by the way, that are wondering about what's the team doing here, playing a game on the day of the funeral, the team and the coaches had a private ceremony in Pittsburgh yesterday with Mr. Rooney and paid their respects before they got on their plane to come here to New Orleans. So,
and I think Mr. Rooney Sr. would have wanted it that way, Dan.
Yeah.
No fuss. That was the way he lived.
Saints with Reuben Mays in the game now at tailback. So Mays, after that training camp walkout, gets to the 31-yard line. Now, Mays has been in the league for 2 years out of Washington State. He's been named to the Pro Bowl each time, but unable to play because he had Achilles surgery after his rookie year and then reconstructive knee surgery last year. And there's been a dispute between Jim Finks, the president of the Saints, and Mays and his agent as to whether or not the Saints had agreed to redo his deal. And that's why he walked out of camp, and then under a threat of what's known as the Riggins rule, Mays was in essence forced to come back into camp, and that's why he's here again. From the 31-yard line, he takes it out to the 36-yard line. So he's not a happy puppy, but he's back in the lineup.
Well, he is a running puppy, though, and over 2,200 yards in the past 2 years, and he's also, Dan, out there playing with a very sore shoulder, and I think the kind of an individual he is, he could be fighting with management. He's still going to go out there and be 105%.
I think what Reuben Mays was really upset about was he has rehabilitated his injured knee. Talking to the Saints coaches yesterday, they could not tell one single difference between the Reuben Mays of '88 and the pre-knee surgery Reuben Mays of 1987. And I think Mays felt that, hey, I fulfilled my side of the bargain. It's time for some money. Players always think that way.
Right now, he's about the 64th highest paid running back in the league. On 3rd and 3 from the shotgun, wide open and making the catch is Perryman, and the rookie from Miami with a touchdown. He beats Delton Hall as the Steelers secondary is confused on a 3rd and 3 out of the shotgun to see a man get that open, and that behind everybody.
Delton Hall now, the second-round draft pick of a year ago, played so well last year, now been beaten twice, and Perryman is what they have been looking for here in New Orleans. A little speed on the outside. And he is a second-round draft pick out of Miami. Solid background, and he locks up 101 in Hall and beats him in right on target. Again, Hebert.
Look at Delton Hall. He thinks he's got help to the inside from the free safety. The free safety's caught up inside, and Delton Hall just turns Perriman loose. And look what happens. That's, I think, as you said earlier, Frank, confusion in the Steelers secondary.
Morton Anderson kicks it through. 4:08 to play in the first quarter. 14-0 New Orleans.
Well, he should have suspected he might not have got help against Perriman because he did not have it on the first offensive play of the game. And he gets to the outside, and a beautiful shot by Hebert. He lays it up in full stride is Brett Perriman, and he is going to make an outstanding receiver. They talk so highly of him. But I had to be some sort of confusion in that secondary. You've got to help out a little bit. Well, here's everyone is over there.
Here's Perriman and Hall up top up here. Now, take a look at what happens. Here they are up here on the top. Take a look at how he gets the inside release. But watch this guy, number 27, Thomas Everett. He gets caught up here in the middle. And Hall's acting like he's getting help. Watch him give the inside right there. But Everett's caught clear up inside, has no idea what's going on.
In truth, there was a blitz, and Everett probably waiting for a back to release. They didn't. They picked up. It gave Hebert the time, and it also threw them back into man-for-man coverage, and Delton Hall has got to know that.
Yeah, but when you're playing man-to-man and you don't know you're playing man-to-man, that's how you get burned for long touchdowns.
That's how you take up a different profession.
And this guy's a leader.
Hebert now 2 of 2 for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns.
You can extrapolate from that. He'd have himself a pretty good average.
Yeah, Dan mentioned that Swilling can go home. He's ready for the season. So can Hebert at this point. Morton Anderson to kick off. New Orleans on top 14-0 again next week. The Saints opening up their season against San Francisco. The teams with the 2 best records in the league last year meet on opening day. From the 1-yard line, Dwight Stone out past the 30. Good run back. The 40, and out of bounds goes Stone at the 43-yard line. Morton Anderson forcing him out of bounds.
He can run about a 4.25 40. He has great speed. Second-year man out of Middle Tennessee State. He saw just a little opening. There's Morton Anderson, who had to get involved in this. They don't like to see that. This is valuable property here.
Look at that brutal hit.
I'll get you.
He's up on him, big boy. Come on.
No flags.
Oh, man. Personal foul. You can't go after a guy's head like that. Effective, nonetheless, I guess.
Steelers down by 2 touchdowns early from the 43-yard line. Send Abercrombie in motion. Fake to Pollard. Brister protection. He goes deep, and it is dropped at the 10-yard line by Charles Lockett. The second-year receiver out of Cal State Long Beach had the inside position on Van Jakes and couldn't hold on.
Beautifully thrown pass by Brister. He just snapped it. No question about the rifle he has with that right arm. Just snaps it off, doesn't even take a step. Fires it, and he hits Lockhart right in stride.
Boy,
that hurts.
2 out of the last 3 passes from Brister, I think, have been sensational. This one to Lockett. Remember the sideline pattern to Lewis Lips that he was trying to get his feet in bounds and drop that. So you can't fault Brister.
Here's Pollard. Nice move. Flag thrown. Pollard gets knocked down at the 42-yard line, but a marker down back at the 41. Brett Maxey making the tackle on the play, and we'll get the call from Dick Jorgensen, and that will be called back.
Pollard wanted another flag for somebody going after his head
at the end
on the sideline.
Steelers.
Number 34, offense, 10 yards, still second down.
Walter.
That's Abercrombie, who fumbled earlier. We talked about Chuck Noll wanting the big play this year. Well, he had the big play, but it was dropped by Lockett, and as you can see, last year, the lowest in the league per pass play, and that's exactly what he's talking about, and that's why Malone is in San Diego, among other reasons.
And very reflective of the time that was missed by Lewis Lips last year with that hamstring. He's the big play man. He's also your ball control man, one of the best receivers in the game.
Brister, who completed his first 3,
look out,
is pressured by Swilling, and down he goes.
What a day he's having. They must have looked at the Giants tape.
This might be Taylor in disguise here, huh?
I hope the 49er offensive line's watching.
Hey, he's the same kind of athlete, almost the same size as Taylor, 6'3", 242 pounds. So quick. And he is just wiping out the Steelers' left side. That's Jackson again. That's 2 for Jackson, 1 for Terry Long, if you want to keep track of it.
Well, in Jackson's defense, because he desperately needs one, he is a rookie. He's a 10th round draft choice, and you have to wonder if his fragile ego isn't going to be pretty well dusted off by that guy today.
But Dan, as you watch him, and you played that position many times, the feet are just planted. There's no footwork at all.
You've got to get back off the ball. You cannot attack a player like Swilling on the line of scrimmage. He has too much room to get around you upfield. Jackson has got to drop at least 3 yards off the line of scrimmage before he takes on Swilling, or else he's defeated at the very beginning of the play.
Swilling is having a lot of fun.
Oh.
3rd down and 32, and that necessitated a timeout for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who won their first 2 preseason games, and then last week were knocked off by New York. Next week opening up against Dallas and having a rough first quarter here with the Saints right there. Number 57, Ricky Jackson, another of their great linebackers.
And you know, Al, when you have these 2 great linebackers on the outside, Ricky Jackson has been a multiple Pro Bowler. I mean, it creates a competition between the 2 of them. I know it did that with the Giants, with Banks and Taylor on the other side. Both of them, I think, are better because of it. And I think that if it's possible, these 2 are going to do the same thing. And if it's possible, they will even be better because of it.
And a couple of pretty good guys on the inside, and Sam Mills and Vaughn Johnson as well. 3rd and 32, Steelers and Thompson in motion. Dresser on a draw play as they try to pick up some of the yardage. Merrill Hodge takes it out to the 37-yard line, but it's 4th and plenty, and in comes the punting unit.
Well, it's 4th and long yardage, but that was a good call. When you get somebody like Swilling who's so steamed up, so stoked up, he knows he can beat the man in front of him. You come with the draw play. He never even saw that come inside of him.
It's a good call if survival is what you're looking for.
And I think they might be looking for it for their quarterback.
Not necessarily a great call if you're looking for a first down, but survival might have been it might have been number 1 right there.
Harry Newsom to kick for Pittsburgh. Brett Perryman, who caught the touchdown pass back to receive. Rush was on. It's a low kick that takes a good bounce. Fielded by Perryman at the 15. He's knocked down to the 20-yard line.
Smart play that time by Perryman, not letting that ball bounce anymore. The Saints might have lost another 7, 8, maybe even 10 yards in field position the way that ball was headed towards their own goal line. Smart play for a rookie receiver. Cover it up. So what if you get hit? At least save your team some field position.
Saints under Jim Mora now in his 3rd season, and again, they had never had a winning year until last year. There they were in '85. They were 21st in the league in scoring, and then last year they were 2nd, and then defensively 22nd in points allowed in 1985. Last year, 5th, and when you're 2nd in offense and 5th in defense in terms of points, you're going to do quite well, as they did with a mark of 12-3. They lead 14-0 as Hebert, who's 2 for 2, is now 3 for 3, hits Hilliard, and Dalton takes it out to the 28-yard line.
Going back to the Saints again, talking about how they've improved offensively and defensively. They led the league last year in the giveaway takeaway. They were plus 20. Which means they turned the ball over 20 fewer times than they forced their opponents into either throwing a interception or a fumble. And when you do that, that's a key to winning. And this Saint ball club, it's not an illusion. They're solid offensively, defensively, special teams from top to bottom, and management as well.
On 2nd and 3, he finds Martin for a first down at the 37-yard line. Martin bumped out of bounds by Delton Hall, and they've been working on Hall. The
well-rounded
second-year man out of Clemson.
Well-rounded team. They did everything well. They controlled the clock. They just ran away with the control of the football from any other team in the league. By how many minutes? They averaged 34 minutes a game in possession, and they were overwhelming in the takeover turnover department. In Philadelphia, the second, they were like 7 back from them.
Yeah, they were 13.
1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Hebert with time, and again it's Martin, and again they work on Hall. There's your flag finally now.
Well, that is really a poor mistake for a cornerback to make. Delton Hall has had problems controlling and channeling his aggressiveness from last year, and the referees, the linesmen, they all know about this guy. You can't take a shot to the head like Delton Hall just took and think you're going to get away with it. Take a look at it. You be the judge.
Personal foul, number 35, defense over the head.
Boy, and you shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. That could really do some damage.
Look at him wind up. That's the key.
Eric Martin is relaxed at this point. He knows he's out of bounds. He does not need to get that shot. And the Delton Hall, with his one little burst of temper, hurts the entire ball club. And I'm sure Noel is having a few words with him in just that respect.
If that happens on the other side of the field by the Saints bench, it takes a while for Hall to get out.
I agree.
From the 32-yard line on 1st and 10, Hebert. High throw and incomplete, but another flag, and this time it's Woodson for pass interference.
And it's a good call.
Absolutely a good call. Woodson trying to go right through the receiver.
And he was there in plenty of time, too, Frank. It looked like he had time to maybe go around and make a play on the ball from the front, but instead he hits Clark right in the back.
First down.
Robert Clark, the intended receiver, and Woodson can't believe the call, but it was pretty simple.
If you look at it again, you'll see exactly what Dan said. He could have picked this ball off. He stepped right in front. He's the #1 draft pick, good athlete, shoves Clark. There's no question about it. Now he's contesting it. That was interference all the way.
No, that's... And the thing of it was, it's like he made contact with his left hand. He was almost killing time waiting for the ball to get there. A DB at that point can't go through the receiver. He has to go around him to make the play on the ball.
1st and 10, New Orleans at the Steeler 19-yard line. Saints ahead 14-0. Hebert short drop, under some pressure, rolling right now, throwing, man open, touchdown. John Tice, the tight end.
Well, this is major surgery we're watching now without an anesthetic.
Good scramble by Hebert. He was looking for his man-to-man coverage. The Steelers had rotated into his zone where he's been so successful over on the right side. So he pulls it down, scrambles out, Tice is there, wide open. Now he sees right now he does not have the man-to-man coverage. Nobody open over on the left side. Tice keeps it alive for him, gives Tice credit. Came right down the sidelines and goes by Hinkle, the linebacker, wide open in the end zone.
Well, poor Hinkle was caught in no man's land. He didn't know whether to support the run or stay with his guy.
Anderson's kick is good after the 19-yard touchdown pass to Tice. Hebert has thrown 3 touchdown passes. The New Orleans Saints have played a perfect first quarter as they prepare for the regular season. 1:28 to go in the period.
Watch Hinkle, number 53, go with Tice, but then he's going to see Hebert roll his way. And right here, he makes a move towards the line of scrimmage, gets caught, and then Tice is by him.
And had he not done that, I imagine Hebert would have just pulled it up and Tice would have been even more wide open. He was caught right in the middle of it.
Let's see if we can take a good look at it. Here's Tice in motion right here coming across. Here's Hinkle. When they drop to right about here and Hebert makes his move, watch Hinkle make his move up towards the line of scrimmage. It's not going to be much. It's only going to be a step or two. Okay, here comes Hebert out. Right there. You see it as it's frozen right here? Watch Hinkle come on up. He's going to make his move right there, and that's it. Tice is by him. Hebert sees it, and there's the touchdown. Hinkle just a little over-aggressive to want to come up and support the scrambling quarterback instead of realizing he has an obligation to stay with his receiver until the play's over.
But had he stayed with him all the way from the beginning, Hebert could have almost walked in.
Well, but you know what? That's not Brian Hinkle's responsibility.
That's true.
Not until he crosses the line of scrimmage.
Anderson kicks off. Fielded at the goal line by Woodson. And he gets back out to the 17-yard line. Stopped by Hardy Nickerson. Steelers begin this drive from their own 17-yard line. Woodson, who held out last year, world-class hurdler, thought about a track career, and then signed in midseason. Scoring drive, and it took only 1 minute and 1 second. Hebert to Tice. Steelers now have the football for the 6th time this quarter. That's Dwight Stone, the tailback, number 20. And he follows Pollard, and as he turns it back inside, he is knocked down after a very short gain. Tackle made by Swilling, who is all over the joint.
Oh, he's an athlete. From the far side, he chases this back, and you're talking about a very fast back in Dwight Stone. He hesitated looking for a hole, and that was all it was needed for Swilling, and he was there.
The 56. I know we're first thing, but I mean, that reminds me of Lawrence Taylor so much. That flat pursuit down the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 9. Brister with time, throws over the middle to Lips, and he has a first down. Stopped at the 33-yard line. Steelers on the move again, but trailing already by 21. 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line as the quarter winds down. 20 seconds to play in the first quarter. A big quarter for New Orleans. Already 160 total yards in the first period.
Steelers might be thinking about running the clock out here in the first quarter.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Pittsburgh's on the other side of 100 yards offense, too, if they don't have a couple drop passes.
Especially the one by Lockett. And the quarter comes to an end before the inception of the play. So the end of a near-perfect first quarter for the Saints. They lead 21-0, and we'll be back in New Orleans for the second quarter after this message and a word from your local station.
Oh, boy.
IBM presents You Make the Call. While attempting to sack Bronco quarterback John Elway, Redskin defensive end Charles Mann kicks the ball out of Elway's hand. Now, you make the call. Is this a legal maneuver by Mann?
I just proposed additional IBM PS2s.
Oh, really?
You want to know why?
Do I want to know why?
Hey, go on, ask me why.
Why?
Compatibility.
I love compatibility.
PS2s can run the programs we run on these old PCs, which means we can keep using the software we've already got. Are you following all
I'm
that?
hanging on every word.
Not to mention the PS2's increased speed and superior graphics.
Not to mention advanced OS 2 capabilities.
Were you listening outside the door? Was he listening outside the door?
What call did you make? It is never legal to deliberately bat, punch, or kick a ball in another player's possession. Not only is this not a sack or fumble, it is a 10-yard penalty against the Redskins.
Hey, Dad, motor oil. We need some.
Yeah, well, just get the bargain brand, Sonny.
But, Dad, Valvoline makes the highest quality motor oil recommended by any automobile manufacturer.
Ah, quality schmality buster. I'd rather save money.
Hey, but there's a 15-cent rebate on every quart of Valvoline we buy.
Oh, sure, smart guy, but what about the 25-cent postage stamp?
But, Dad, this is an instant 15-cent rebate. We get our savings now.
Look, just get the Valvoline like I told you, or I'll sink you like a 3-foot putt.
The second quarter in New Orleans, and this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, under the category of what a difference a year makes, the last time the Saints played a game in this stadium, they were destroyed by Minnesota in the playoffs last year. Now they come home and play a perfect first period.
The only time they were destroyed a year ago was Minnesota the year before had taken them also. And they kind of had their number going into the playoff game of a year ago.
Is it too obvious to say the Pittsburgh Steelers are not the Minnesota Vikings?
It's pretty obvious at this point. From the 33-yard line. Brister for Lips and knocked away. Reaching up was Dave Waymer. He mentioned before in his 9th year out of Notre Dame, so he's been here during the lean times and now the good times as well. Still a starter.
I think they better start leaving Waymer alone. He has been in absolute good position in every play. Times this out perfectly. They try to go to Lips again against Waymer. A little underthrown, but notice what you're talking about. The Steelers were not helping each other out from the middle. There you saw a good example of the free safety helping Waymer. Waymer was on the outside. Atkins, who started at safety today for an injured Gibson, was right there on the inside, and they played it perfectly.
Good point. That was in marked contrast to the way Pittsburgh's been doing it in the first quarter. Their corners have been hung out to dry. Well, the clock didn't move at all. It's still on 15 minutes. That being the first play of the second quarter, so we're going to have some sort of an adjustment made here.
Yep. Noel says, get that clock moving.
Yeah. Chuck says, there any way we can take 10 minutes off?
And put a 4 under quarter. So Dick Jorgensen is checking things over again. Well, this stadium hasn't been the site of an NFL game, but they did play some high school football here last night, so everything should be in operating order, but a temporary glitch.
Now, realistically, both these coaches are looking forward to next week. The Pittsburgh Steelers will play the Cowboys, of course, and the Saints will open against the 49ers. What a big one that will be for them. But if you also realistic about the Steelers, when you consider their 8-7 season in that tough AFC Central Division last year, you know, it's going to be tough again for them this year. Houston has come on. You have Cleveland, Cincinnati. And if you look at the stats from the first quarter, it's interesting to reflect that in the 80s, the Steelers' regular season wins have totaled 63. Their regular season losses have totaled 57. Now that's 6 games regular season over 500. It's been a long time between the glory years of the Super Bowl years and that last Super Bowl in '79, and it's not been all uphill.
Checking out that graphic of the first quarter stats, all you time of possession nuts, I think, realized how little that really means.
Because the Saints only had the ball 5.5 minutes, yet they lead 21-0. Martin from Hebert.
Is now inoperative. We will keep the time on the field. The correct game time is 14:54. 14:54.
You heard Jorgensen say that it's inoperative, the scoreboard clock. They'll keep it on the field, and you look at the scoring summary with Hebert throwing 3 touchdown passes. So Mora and Knoll getting the word from the officials that they will keep the time on the field, and we'll of course have we have communication with them, and we'll be able to update you.
But very difficult for the quarterbacks getting the ball off in that allotted time, whether it be 45 seconds from when the ball is down or the 30-second clock. It's not working. They can't watch it in either end zone.
They'll give them a little leeway, I would imagine.
Yeah. The 45 and 30-second clock is working right now. It's the game clock that is not working. As Bristol leads them up to the 33-yard line, and Pollard takes the pitch and gets hit back as he reaches the 34 by Sam Mills, the undersized inside linebacker, number 51, who checks in at 5'9".
Now, don't let that go idly by. 5 feet 9 inches tall and playing middle linebacker in the National Football League. But that's how he gets away with it. That's how he does it. Excellent instincts, reading, knowing when to cut upfield, behind a blocker, in front of blocker. He's been with Jim Moore a long time, played for him over in the USFL, and he takes the defensive signals for this club in New Orleans. Sam Mills, a complete player.
Brister on 3rd down.
Oh, yeah.
Has a first down as he completes it to midfield. Number 89, Charles Lockett, who dropped that long bomb before, catches this one and takes them into Saints territory for a first down.
Boy, this is really unusual. Pat Swilling rushing the quarterback. I don't think this guy ever drops back into coverage. Well, let's give some credit where credit is due. John Jackson, that time number 65, got back off the ball, got in front of Swilling and stayed with him all the way and finally put him down. So Jackson maybe learning from some of his first quarter mistakes. Did it a little better that time.
Ball is spotted at the 49 of Pittsburgh. Brister gives it to Dwight Stone. He's racked up from behind at the 50-yard line.
Well,
and there he is again, Swilling.
There's no need to even say who that is.
You've got to be twins out there. Effective against the pass. Now he stuffs the run.
Well, that's nothing but desire. That is nothing but desire and hustle and wanting to get to the quarterback. A lot of players in the league will take this play off. It's going away from you. There's a risk going down the line of scrimmage. Somebody might jump on your legs, and look at Pat Swilling.
You're going to have to redesign that play. Now, the back was not hitting that play slowly. You're going to have somebody fan back on that kind of a player, as they often do. You'll see Lawrence Taylor, and we keep talking about it. You see Lawrence Taylor doing exactly the same things.
Well, players like that can force you to change your offense, force you to send a back maybe in misdirection to that side, maybe even sometimes drop a guard off the line of scrimmage to cut off that backside pursuit. I can remember my last couple of years in St. Louis, we had to do that for Lawrence Taylor. He made every play coming from the backside. That just ain't supposed to happen.
Or run screens and draws when you don't want to.
Ball came loose after the whistle. 2nd down and 7. Brister pump fakes. Man wide open, going deep for Lips. He makes the catch, and there's the big play Knoll is looking for. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
And this time a terrific move on Waymer. Waymer has been staying with one of the best receivers in football throughout the first quarter. That time, well, if you keep going to him, he's going to get free, particularly if you lock up in man-for-man coverage. Now, that's Waymer right on his face. He just blows right by him. It's history right here, and there was good protection, and Brister just did get it off because who was there again? Swilling was just about to nail him at the top right side.
And I don't understand what Waymer was thinking about. taking a risk like that, being that aggressive and trying to put some sort of a hit on Lips. That's the kind of a mistake that if I'm a cornerback, I might want to be a little more conservative.
He was counting on the blitz for pressure on Brister. He didn't get the type of pressure that he wanted, and you've got to play him better than that. You've got to make your shot, or he's going to blow right by you.
He probably thought Pat Swilling was going to make the play. He's made every other one. Why not that one?
Gary Anderson's extra point makes it 21-7. New Orleans.
Honey, should we take the other car?
I'd rather not.
Ford Escort now offers an attractive new design, plus fuel injection and a 660 powertrain warranty. In fact, the redesigned Ford Escort may make your other car seem considerably less attractive.
Honey, aren't we ever going to take the other car?
Nope. The world's best-selling car just keeps looking better all the time.
Now get a $500 cash bonus on 88.5 Ford Escorts.
For more than 80 years, people have come home to homes with Anderson windows. Come home. And while times have changed, our commitment to quality and to the home has not. Which is why today, more people come home to Anderson windows than any other.
Come home to quality. Come home to Anderson.
Sir, would you choose hamburger A Wendy's hamburger that's made fresh, or B, a pre-made hamburger that's been sitting around?
I'll take A.
Really?
No, B. I said B.
No, you didn't, sir. You said
Most people prefer fresh hamburgers like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
Do it yourself.
Do it for yourself. Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
Wood finish for beautiful color like no other, and Minwax polyurethane for fast-drying protection that lasts.
Do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
In New Orleans, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf. The NFL exhibition season coming to an end as New Orleans and Pittsburgh have at it. Our regular season coverage beginning Labor Day night, a week from Monday. The Washington Redskins and the New York Giants, the last two Super Bowl champions. The Saints looking very much like Super Bowl contenders in this one so far, leading 21-7. Gary Anderson kicks off for Pittsburgh, taken to the 3-yard line. This is Mel Gray. Not to the 19. Mel Gray, who led the league in punt returns last year, running back this kickoff and setting New Orleans up with a 1st and 10 at the 19. And coming up next, of course, a special edition of ABC's Wide World of Sports, one of our prime staples for years on Wide World, the Little League World Series from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The team from Taipei taking on Pearl City, Hawaii, representing the United States. And there it is with the special time at 8 Eastern, Washington and New York on our season premiere of Monday Night Football.
Everybody bring an extra chin strap to that game. There'll be some serious knocking going on down on that field.
1st and 10, Saints from their own 19-yard line. Bobby Hebert will play the first half today, and then we'll see Dave Wilson in the second half. And here is Reuben Mays. And we talked about the fact he's coming back from that surgery, coming into today's game, and he walked out, of course, of camp and wasn't there in Indianapolis last week, but in their first 2 exhibition games, he'd only carried the ball 2 times. So they said, as Dan mentioned before, he's looked real good in practice.
Well, you have to admire somebody, particularly a running back, to come back from that reconstruction of the knee. You know how difficult it is, all those terror-filled nights to begin with, and then those days, hours, months of rehabilitation. And he apparently has absolutely no sign of it.
2nd and 6, and Hebert hit as he throws, intended for John Tice, and some shoving going on with Aaron Jones, the #1 draft choice, number 97 right there, getting into it with Jim Dombrowski.
Well, Aaron Jones was the player that had a hold of Bobby Hebert's shirt. He was rushing from the right end position. Oh, here we go. Nice job, fellas. Let's take a look at it. He's working against big Jim Dombrowski. Gets around the corner, and there's the grab on Hebert's jersey. And he pulls him to the, and then falls on top of it. That's inadvertent. Dombrowski's not going to like that because he got beat on his way to the quarterback. But I really don't think Aaron Jones did anything serious there.
3rd down and 7 from the shotgun as Hebert under pressure again. The throw's complete to the 42-yard line to Mike Jones, who has lost his starting spot to Lonzel Hill, but he's still going to see a lot of action and makes his first catch of the day here. A first down out at the 42-yard line. He was their second leading receiver last season. He of the good moves, the quick moves. He makes a good move to the inside. Like I said earlier, the Saints have not had the real great speed until Perriman came up this year as a rookie, but if you want the moves, the underneath moves, Mike Jones will give them to you.
Not a bad throw either, huh?
Not bad. Hebert having a big half at the 42-yard line, 1st and 10. Misdirection to Hayward. And Ironhead takes it out to the 47-yard line. You're going to get a lot of attention to begin with simply with that nickname, and especially so when you come in at 260.
Well, if we were in Washington, we'd call that play the counter gap, because that's exactly what that was. The one back taking a misdirection step, the guard and tackle from the far side of the line of scrimmage coming around, and we've seen some other backs like Riggins and people like that run that play.
How many teams do you think we'll see running that play this year, Dan?
Everybody.
Absolutely no shame.
I think of a back named Timmy Smith that didn't run it too bad either.
Yeah, we'll see it next week. That's for sure. 2nd and 5 from the 47-yard line. Reuben Mays again, seeking the first down, and may have it as he leans forward at the 47 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Reuben Mays out of Washington State.
What do they call that area up there?
The Palouse.
The Palouse.
And he was a big star there, came in here and was a heralded rookie, made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. They've got some great running backs. We've taken a look at Hayward. We know about Mays and Dalton Hilliard as well.
Barry Ward.
That's right.
Looked good last week against Indianapolis.
1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Movement on the left side. Jumping was Edelman.
Brad Edelman, the left guard.
False start, number 63, offense, still first down.
You think they caught that? There were 4 flags down on the field.
Well, it's pretty easy when you make a good move like that. Here's Brad Edelman right here at left guard. Comes right out of there. There's no place to hide when you're already up. Steve Trapillo, the right guard, moved as well, but Edelman went first.
And amazing for an offensive lineman. That's about the most attention they get during the course of the game. It's got to be so embarrassing.
That's a heck of a deal, isn't it?
Like Paul Revere's horse.
I'm reluctant to single the guy out. It's just not fair.
10 minutes to play in the half. Saints ahead by 14 on 1st down and 15. Mays picks up 5. Reuben gets to the 47-yard line. Aaron Jones and Dombrowski were at it again.
We've got a player down on the field.
One of the Saints, and also a holding call coming up against New Orleans as well. Brett Perryman. I noticed on the touchdown pass to Tice, Perryman came off limping on the last series, and now he's down again with another injury. So Perryman, who's only 5'9" and 175 and might be a little fragile to begin with, and he's shaken up. And you think about Miami, he was there with Michael Irvin, the #1 pick of the Dallas Cowboys.
Offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Brian Blaze was also a receiver on that team, and then Perryman, who's the #2 draft choice. Penalty against Dombrowski.
And not good when they're looking at the leg.
Came back and was blocking in from the flanker position.
At least they're not looking at the knee. They appear to be examining down towards the ankle on Perriman. Let's take a look at it right here. I believe that's Perriman to the right of the screen, and this is when it's dangerous. Mays coming right behind him. Oh, and you can see how his left leg is caught underneath Reuben Mays. But he was able to get out of it. At least at the very end, he was able to get out and roll over the top. But still, you could see how both his knee and his ankle were stretched a little bit. Kind of senseless for us to try to play doctor up here, but that was a good look at what happened.
Not only do you hate to see it, any kind of an injury in football, you certainly hate to see it for a young and upcoming rookie like this, just a week away from the start of the season, and certainly somebody that the Saints had counted on so heavily. There's that great burst of speed. There's one thing they've lacked offensively, it's been that.
Well, let's see if he puts weight on it. Yeah. A good sign is them putting weight on it, walking off like that.
Oh, and they'll have ice on that instantly. To be young.
The key there, Frank, he was able to get out from under it.
Right.
He got caught, and yet he was in a position that he could bail out of it and get out over the top. That's how the players refer to that, as being able to bail out. He got caught, but he was able to escape, and that's why Brett Perriman was able to walk off the field.
So the drive resumes with a 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line for the Saints. 9 minutes and 30 seconds. The clock is operating again. And a flag is down at the exception of the play. It's 1st down and 25 after the penalty. 1st and 25 after 2 penalties, in fact.
False start, number 63 before the snap. Offense, 5 yards, still 1st down.
And now it's going to be 1st and 30.
Brad Edelman again. That's his 2nd false start.
Starting to look like a preseason game as you take a look at Carl Smith, the operator for the Saints from Roscoe, California. That's enough. You can't do that.
Yep. Trying to get a head start, pulling out the lead to play. The left side of the Saints line having a tough time. 2 false starts on Edelman, a hold on Dombrowski.
3 straight penalties and a 1st and 30 from the 33-yard line. And they begin with a draw play. Hayward pickup of close to 5, maybe 6. 2nd and still very long with 8:45 to go in the half. And New Orleans on 3 Hebert touchdown passes, leading Pittsburgh 21-7.
Where'd this guy get the nickname Ironhead?
He was a little kid.
I mean, that's it. It's that simple. Iron City.
No, the kids around.
I got 2nd behind Icky.
Yeah.
Icky and Ironhead.
Like 3 yards, amazingly enough.
2nd and 25. Tice still on his feet. Takes a half a dozen Steelers to bring him down at the 48-yard line.
Well, you like to have 5 or 6 guys making the tackle, but not necessarily because the first 3 bounced off.
It's good offense on the part of Hebert and the Saints. These plays being called by Carl Smith. They don't try to go deep against that prevent defense in the long yardage. They throw underneath. They let Tice get a bunch of it. Now, all of a sudden, instead of extremely long yardage, they're back to a 3rd down and something reasonable like about 14. A little draw play, a little bit of this, and now they have a chance for the 1st.
I was right. It was 3 guys that bounced off John Tice.
3rd and 15 from the 48-yard line. Hebert from the gun. Over the middle for Hilliard, and a little too high. Dalton Hilliard juggling it, couldn't make the play. Hinkle came up to cover, and the Saints will have to kick.
One that could have been made and turned into a 1st down. It was off his fingertips, and Hilliard, I think, was thinking more run than he was reception at this point.
Well, that ball from Hebert, he'd like to have that back. That was not a good throw, and I think Dalton Hilliard put in about a 108% effort to try to bring that in.
And right there, he knew it was going to be crashed.
Yeah. Hebert had the right idea, just a little too much on the ball.
Brian Hansen to kick. High and a very short kick, so a poor one. Bouncing at the 26, but taking a good New Orleans bounce, and out of bounds it goes at the 17. 7:14 to play here in the 1st half. New Orleans ahead, 21-7.
Somehow there's got to be a cure for athlete's foot.
Hey, step up to the mic.
Mike.
Micatin. This cures athlete's foot. It's got something the others don't. Myconazole. There's nothing more powerful.
Yes? You got something that cures athlete's foot?
Sure, step up to the mic.
Huh?
Micatin. It cures athlete's foot.
Step up to the cure. Step up to the mic. Micatin, also in deodorant spray.
For those of you considering a new truck, compare the Ford Ranger XLT and the Toyota Deluxe.
Nice try, Biff.
Both trucks have an AM/FM stereo cassette and power steering.
Nice try, Biff.
But the Ford Ranger adds a fuel-injected engine, a 6-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty, and more, all for less money.
Nice try, Biff.
And if Ranger's features don't convince you, then consider the option.
Get up to $750 cash bonus on America's best-selling compact truck, Ford Ranger.
don't win nothing for practice. Don't win nothing if you don't.
All right, let's have it.
After a long day of hard knocks,
That's right.
head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Boy.
Here, this one don't buck so hard.
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
An American summer classic. A&W Cream Soda presents the Little League World Series on a special edition of ABC's Wide World of Sports, live next.
Well, Perryman is out of the game, and right there is Antonio Gibson, another of the injured Saints, even though he's in uniform today, the starting safety. Not expected to play. Saints on top 21-7. Report on Perryman simply, as we all know from watching him leave the field, a twisted leg, so he is on the shelf, at least for the moment. Steelers have the ball from their own 17-yard line. Bubby Brister rolling out, throwing, hits Dwight Stone, and he has a first down out at the 40-yard line. And we talked about the big play that Chuck Noll hopes he's going to have this year. That is sort of representative of that. Brister, who has good scrambling ability, getting out of the pocket, and then with the receiver coming back to him here, full sprint, well-designed play, gets projection on the outside. Ricky Jackson caught inside and was able to go upfield, and gets the big play to Dwight Stone. First and 10 from the 39-yard line. Lips goes in motion. And on the ground, it's Stone. Flag thrown. Stone turns it into a big gain, and he's going to go all the way, but there's a flag down at the 41-yard line.
And it's holding, I'm sure of it.
But there's that speed we talked about earlier. A little opening, he was gone.
Yeah, it's a hold all the way.
61-yard touchdown run becomes a 10-yard penalty. Again, I think you know when you get the hold, when you reverse the play, he started to the right, went to the left, an offensive lineman is blocking. He feels that pressure released against him on his man, and it's just a tremendous tendency to grab.
Number 73, offense, still first down.
It's Craig Wolfley, the left guard, flagged for the hold on the play, and boy, that's worse than jumping off sides. Having a touchdown called back is...
That's when the offensive lineman gets the close-up.
That's where you look for that trap door, trying to look for a place to hide. Here's Sam Mills. He comes in on the blitz. There's Wolfley out in front. 73. He puts the hog tie on Ricky Jackson, and that's where the flag comes from. And it's the shame of it all, really away from the play. Stones had already made a sensational adjustment, taking it the other direction, and was gone.
First and 20 now. After the penalty, Brister is throwing it away under a lot of heat. And Ricky Jackson exchanging some pleasantries, or unpleasantries, I suppose.
I'm sure he's just saying, I think Bubby's a cute name.
Yeah, right. You're adorable. What a sweetheart you are, Walter.
Ricky Jackson is he's a no-nonsense guy. If you've ever had a conversation with him or looked at him across the line of scrimmage, not the kind of guy that I would just out of nowhere want to strike up a conversation with. Rather intense looking.
Second and 20. Stone goes in motion and almost stumbles. And this is Ernest Jackson, 35 to the 41-yard line. Ernest Jackson with his first carry, sixth year out of Texas A&M, and he's had some big seasons. Remember, he started with San Diego, then went to Philadelphia, and has found a home now in Pittsburgh. He had a 1,000-yard season with San Diego, one with Pittsburgh, and if he can have one, I mean, with Philadelphia, and if he could ever have one here, nobody else in the NFL has ever done that. '84 with San Diego, 85 with Philadelphia. Third down and 8 from the 41-yard line. That's Rodney Carter going in motion. Brister under pressure, hits Carter, first down out at the 48-yard line, penalty marker. Back at the line of scrimmage.
You want to see one of the things.
Number 56, defense, lined up in the neutral zone.
First thing Swilling's done wrong all day.
I'll tell you something, though. Bubby Brister's getting smart. He's taking a shorter drop at the quarterback position. He's only going back there now about 6 yards or so. He's trying to stay inside that angle that Swilling's been taking all afternoon. That's showing a little heads-up play by Brister, realizing, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to take a 9-yard drop any longer this afternoon as long as Swilling's coming.
By design or desperation?
Well, whatever. It's the only way to get it. He's got to get underneath that rush.
Flag, play dead. Carter was going to give it to Lips on a reverse.
False start, number 74, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Terry Long. Long is 5'11". When's the last time you saw an offensive lineman under 6 feet, Dan?
I can't remember the last one. There haven't been many that have been a starting regular player in the National Football League on the offensive line at 5 feet 11 inches. There used to be plenty back in the 40s and the 50s when the primary responsibility of a guard was to run. But in today's game, where your big pass blockers and a running game has changed, I can't recall one.
1st and 15, and Brister gets buried as the Saints come flying through. Jim Wilkes. Swilling was also there, but it's Wilkes getting the sack. Swilling makes it happen, though. He makes Brister step right back into Wilkes. So he doesn't get the sack, Swilling, but he should have an assist.
That's exactly what I was talking about before. Going upfield, he's forcing Brister to take a shorter drop, and look how Pat Swilling, even by being out of the play, still makes something happen because he allows a defensive tackle from inside, Jim Wilkes, to make the play.
Well, they've tried him at Jackson now. They've tried Wolfley on Swilling. They've tried Terry Long. None of them with any success. 2nd and 23. Brister drops the ball, picks it up, pressured again. Throws. He almost crossed the line of scrimmage, and the throw incomplete. Tough play for Bubby Brister. Tough retreat, almost came across the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 23.
That is a photograph,
Polaroid,
being sent from up in the press box, I would assume,
to the bench,
down to the field.
Yep.
They're taking pictures from up here in the press box and sending them down to the sidelines, I'm sure of a defensive formation or one of the cheerleaders. I'm not sure which.
They take this Polaroid just as the ball is snapped. They send it down, they look at it on the sidelines, and they get an idea of the movement of the defense. They show that to the offensive players. They huddle over it. Every team does that, I assume.
But what a sophisticated delivery system. I'm stunned. I mean, modern
used to
technology.
throw it down in a sock in Yankee Stadium when I played with a rock in it.
Look at that. There's the line going all the way.
You could hang your wash out on that, Dan. Put your skivvies up there.
I've been on the road long enough.
3rd down and 23. Brister going for it all, and it was taken away and caught at the 1-yard line as the Steelers get a big break. Charles Lockett, number 89, who dropped one earlier, took it away from the defensive back.
And I think that was Reggie Sutton, number 29, who had the ball. I mean, he just plain had it. Yeah, there's Sutton right there. And, boy, that was some kind of play that time by Lockett. Because watch Sutton. The ball's going to come up short. Sutton's in perfect position. And right there, Sutton has the ball. And from over his shoulder comes Lockett, who takes it away. Now, that's the way you like to see a receiver fight for the football.
Brister coming out of that limping a little bit, but he did scamper back up to the huddle. So Lockett with a couple of big plays after dropping one earlier. 1st and goal now. Steelers down by 14, trying to cut it to 7. Stone.
Whoa.
Hit hard. Coming up to make the pop on him. Van Jakes from the secondary, and Swilling along with Johnson.
And I think Vaughn Johnson, the last guy you mentioned, Al, might be the guy that really put the impetus into that goal line rejection.
He's the leading tackler for the Saints, and he really puts the pop on Stone. Stone thinks he's got 6 here. There is an opening. Now watch this collision here.
First guy in there is Mills, and the second guy is Johnson. That's the way you like to see your 2 inside pluggers work on the goal line.
2nd and goal. Quick handoff, touchdown, as Ernest Jackson takes it through the middle, and the Steelers get right back into it. So after falling behind 21-0 in the first quarter, the Steelers have come back 2 scoring drives and can cut it to a 7-point deficit with Anderson's extra point.
You can see a replay on this. Watch 74. It's a quick trap. Every team has it. They go for penetration. 74, the right guard long, crosses with the center, gets the trap block, big hole.
The guy who really made the big block was John Jackson, the left tackle, Frank, who after the trap had come all the way across field.
Gary Anderson puts it through. 2:17 to play in the half, and we've got a game again. 21-14 Saints.
Who'd have thunk it?
Not I.
Mustang GT, for people who want more out of life than a little peace and quiet.
No, take the last one. I can make another batch.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. You can whip up a chewy, no-bake batch in minutes. However, nobody has to know that but you.
I know how you love them, so I don't mind the work.
Besides, Rice Krispies Treats certainly taste like somebody slaved over them.
Really? It's no bother.
Rice Krispies Treats, so good, it's hard to believe how easy they are.
It's worth any amount of trouble, as long as it makes you happy.
Ricky Rudd talks about Quaker State with QSX.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX.
QSX keeps dirt particles in suspension, so they're trapped in your oil filter instead of sludging up your engine.
No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Run with it. Now get a $1,000 cash bonus on Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe.
Back at the Superdome in New Orleans, where the Saints open up their regular season next week against San Francisco. New Orleans has a very interesting schedule because you throw out that game next week, and then the first half of their schedule is very easy. They play the Falcons and the Lions and Tampa Bay and San Diego early on. But the second half is a monster with the Redskins and the Broncos, the Giants, the Vikings, and the 49ers down toward the end. From the 8-yard line, Mel Gray back out to the 28-yard line. And so the Saints, as we come up to the 2-minute warning very shortly, has the football at the 28-yard line, 1st and 10.
It's good to have a Mel Gray around on your offense because he can not only play a running back for you, he can run back punts and kickoffs. And he also can be in there as a wide receiver. And at halftime, we are going to pay a tribute to Art Rooney Sr. And, of course, so many tributes pouring in from literally all around the globe. Lynn Swan, who played for the Steelers for 9 years, is in Pittsburgh, where the funeral mass was said just a short while ago. Art Rooney Sr. being buried today. But he touched so many of us, such so many of our lives in the world of sports.
New Orleans from the 29-yard line. Hilliard brings it up to the 32-yard line. And there is a look at the pictures. We saw them coming down on the clothesline. The Polaroids taken from above and sent down to the bench. As we come to the 2-minute warning at the Superdome. 2 minutes to go in the half. 21-14 Saints. Want to buy the negatives?
Youth. A time to race with the wind. To run free. That's only a dream for some kids. But you can help them fight to make that dream come true. Every time you buy Budweiser and Bud Light through Labor Day, you help us make a contribution to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Look for this display where you buy Bud and Bud Light. And remember, you really make it work.
When I talked about how we deal with our customers, or any customer I'd have, you get to know them personally. And eventually it becomes a relationship where they're not just ABC company, they're people. They know that I got all these products and these different things behind me, but they are talking to me, Roy Cartwright. And I'm going to sit across the table and I'm going to say, I'm going to take care of you. When you take away all the titles, it's really down to two people interfacing with each other.
Since the beginning of the '88 model year, Ford's sales leadership over the second best-selling truck line has been stacking up at a terrific rate. Maybe it's because Ford trucks have been the best-built American trucks for 8 straight years, or because Ford has the highest percentage of repeat buyers of any full line of light trucks, or because they've been the best-selling trucks in America for the past 3 years. Whatever. If you stacked up Ford's current lead over the second-place truck, 150,000, the Fords would actually reach all the way up to the space shuttle's orbit. That's leadership. Built Ford tough.
The Washington Redskins take on the New York Giants September 5th on the season premiere of ABC's Monday Night Football.
The only way to kick off your week.
During Dan Vaden's anniversary sale, it's time to move out all 1988 models. Yes, every 1988 model on Dan Vaden's lot will be moved out. Here's a 1988 Caprice loaded with equipment, air conditioning, automatic, AM, FM, stereo, cassette, power, and much, much more with monthly payments of $263 per month. That's a beautiful new Caprice. Monthly payments, $263 a month. During Dan Vaden Chevrolet's anniversary sale, we're featuring low down payment, low prices, great selection, and let's move out those 1988 automobiles at Dan Vaden Chevrolet.
Games played among active players. From the 32-yard line, reverse and a slow developing one, but they turned it into a gain as Clark picks up about 7, getting out to the 36-yard line.
Did you see Hebert throw a block? Bobby Hebert gets out in front of this thing and puts a Steeler down. I think it might have been Rod Woodson that he hit.
A little sophisticated, wouldn't you say, for preseason, Dan?
Well,
I don't see a whole lot of this.
Hey, if you've got a veteran ball club back, they've got it in by now, and why not throw it out there? Hey, they know Bill Walsh is going to be watching these films. Right now, they've just cost the 49ers an extra 5 minutes of practice just having to work on that reverse.
3rd down and 1, and this is Hayward, and he's a pretty good guy to give the ball to on 3rd down and 1. And you've got a 260-pound fullback. He's going to get a few carries. 3rd and short, he picks up the 1st down, and the clock continues to tick down with 1:05, and the Saints come up without a huddle. They have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Ironhead. I like that. Ironhead.
Beats Bubby. Sounds footballish. Ironhead and Bubby.
Hebert complete to the 50-yard line. Making the catch there is Mark Patterson, 3rd-year wide receiver. Hebert took a shot, and New Orleans is going to take a timeout.
Number 1, 40-second timeout.
It's a 40-second timeout with 48 seconds remaining in the half.
And talk about the professionalism of this entire organization, and they really have run a tight ship over here to get themselves into the position they're in at the moment. And there's no question they're going to be a solid threat again this year. On the left, that's the offensive coordinator, Carl Smith. We told you he was from Wasco, California. We played in the same junior college. Not the same year, but the Renegades of Bakersfield. Then he went to Cal Poly and met Morrow when they were both at the University of Colorado. He's collected a lot of loyal people around him, Jim Morrow, and it's paid off.
Carl is considerably older than you, isn't he, Frank?
Well, he looks that way. Dorian Gray here, you know. I'll teach him about the portrait in the attic.
I want to know why Webster looks older than Mora. 2nd and 1 from the 49-yard line. Shotgun. Knocked down. Reaching in was Woodson to break up the play. 43 seconds remaining now in the half, and 3rd down and 1 coming up for the Saints.
Al, you want to know why Mike Webster looks older than Jim Mora?
Well, that's a lead for you. I'm setting you up.
204 games played in the NFL. That does not equate to 204 games coached in the NFL. Your hair may go gray, but your nose does not move over towards your ear.
On 3rd down and 1, they give it to Hayward again, and he spins, and his forward progress should net him the 1st down. We'll take a look. Again, the Art Rooney tribute coming up from Pittsburgh at halftime as Jorgensen signals that he wants the chain gang to come in. To take a look here for the measurement, it was a 3rd down and 1 play with 37 seconds remaining in the 1st half. Saints on top, 21-14.
Hey, watch the measurement. It's going to add to total new dimension to this New Orleans offense. They like to control the ball, and you can see every time they get a third down short, they give it to the big 255-pounder, and he hasn't come up short yet.
With the passing of Art Rooney Sr., Frank, who does that leave now as some of the original founding fathers of the NFL? I think of Wellington Mara in New York, the Mara family, but Art Rooney at 87 years old.
Johnny Breedy was the last of the patriarchs.
He was the last of the originals, wasn't he?
George Hallis. You think, of course, T.J. Mara.
Curly
father
Lambeau.
Of Wellington Mara and Jack Mara.
Curly Lambeau. Charles Bidwell was in that group.
And now Art Rooney Sr. Of course, there are many offsprings, and they continue to be a major force in the National Football League, but we lost one of the great ones.
And on 4th down and inches, despite running into Hayward, he picks up the first down and a lot more, including a touchdown. Can you believe that play?
That's the new dimension.
What a wasted #1 draft choice.
Yeah, a busted play. The two run into each other. Hebert runs into Hayward, and Hayward says, "Excuse me."
Iron head, iron head.
Now that man can motor.
That's being an athlete. That can't be coached, that can't be taught, that can't be drawn up on a blackboard. That is something inside, and Craig Hayward has it.
He does. Longer than any of the Saints rushing plays of a year ago, and he made it mostly on his own. Just keep him on the Weight Watchers is the only problem they're going to have.
Morton Anderson boots it through. And so in an explosive first half, it's 28-14. Craig Hayward on 4th and inches running into Hebert.
Folks, just watch this. We're not even going to talk through it. Just think of one thing. 260 pounds.
Can I say ooh?
Look at that.
Blowing away Gowdy with the straight arm.
260 pounds.
Imagine put Hayward with a contented and a happy, smiling Reuben Mays. You got yourself a great ball control offense.
And don't forget Dalton Hilliard.
What does it do to your offensive scheme if you're a defensive coordinator looking at the Saints when you have a fullback who's capable of running from the line of scrimmage like that? I mean, predominantly that fullback is just a blocking guy. You know, I think of a Timmy Newsome in Dallas that, you know, we just did their game last week, and what was that one graphic we had? He's only averaged like 3 carries a game his entire career. What kind of an extra dimension do you get from a guy like Hayward who's capable of those kind of things?
And that's why Bill Walsh back to the drawing board one more time.
That's why they picked him #1.
I think the 49er practice just got 10 minutes longer after that run.
The short yardage for certain.
28-14. Anderson's kick comes down to the 6. Dwight Stone tackled out at the 22-yard line with 19 seconds to play in the first half. And the tackle made by Brian Ford, rookie out of Washington State, trying to win a job.
There's Ford again, doing what nobody likes, trying to bust the wedge on kickoff return. Well, now that's what you don't see very often. He hits 2 guys and played smart. He didn't sacrifice his body. He didn't go to the ground. He took the hit from 2 separate guys, stayed on his feet, stayed in a hitting position, and made the play.
Rookie trying to win a job, and that's the way you do it. Stone in motion on first down, and they run a draw with Ernest Jackson. And he powers out to the 30-yard line, short of the first down, and the Steelers will elect not to take a timeout. They'll just let the clock run down and regroup at the half. A lot of big plays in the first half. Saints lead the Steelers by a score of 28-14 at the Louisiana Superdome. And we'll return to New Orleans after this message from the National Football League and a word from your local station.
As the clock winds down, the pitch to Reuben Mays. He goes left, and he's going to take it in the end zone.
That's it. Break for commercial.
Hi, I'm Archie Manning. As a broadcaster for my old team, I've got lots of loyal Saints fans following our games. And like me, they're excited about the Saints' new winning spirit that owner Tom Benson and head coach Jim Moore have brought to the team. When I played, the dream of winning's about all we had. But even back then, I was part of one team that was always a winner, and that was the United Way. I've worked at bringing you United Way stories through those United Way messages. And today, I'm still involved as a United Way volunteer. I know that not everyone can enjoy the Saints games. That's because they can't hear them. There are children, preschool tots, who must learn to develop their auditory awareness and speech skills before they're 6 years old, or they may never learn to speak. They need specialized training. And you make programs like this possible when you support your United Way. United Way, it brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
They were called test pilots, and no one knew their names.
Starting Sunday.
America's
A special breed of men with the right stuff.
The new communications technologies can help you work more productively, especially when you know you can count on them.
That's true. Our company was already satisfied with Southern Bell service. But then they said, look, there's a better way to move data, digital.
Of course, the trick is combining the right technology with reliable people.
Absolutely, John. With Southern Bell, we don't worry, because their network has the backup systems and the people we need. And we know they're going to be there whenever we need them.
Reliable service helps make you a company with a future.
During Dan Vaden's anniversary sale, it's time to move out all 1988 models. Yes, every 1988 model on Dan Vaden's lot will be moved out. Here's a 1988 Caprice loaded with equipment, air conditioning, automatic, AM, FM, stereo cassette, power, and much, much more with monthly payments of $263 per month. That's a beautiful new Caprice. Monthly payments, $263 a month. During Dan Vaden Chevrolet's anniversary sale, we're featuring low down payment, low prices, great selection, and let's move out those 1988 automobiles at Dan Vaden Chevrolet.
If you serve part-time in the Army National Guard Artillery, your job might be to clear out a field so infantry can advance safely. The 105 howitzer here will do a pretty fair job. Of course, there are times when it just doesn't pay to play fair.
Catch the spirit of the Georgia Army National Guard.
WJCL TV, Savannah.
We're at halftime in New Orleans. The Saints over the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-14, the final preseason game for both ball clubs. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, and I think we have already told you several times that Art Rooney Sr. passed away this past Thursday. Art Rooney Sr., who meant so much to so many in the world of sports, not only in the world of sports, because Art Rooney kind of spanned everyone's nature. He knew the small man, he knew the big man. He knew them all the same. They were just people to Art Rooney. I think this past Thursday, Wellington Mara, another great name from the history of pro football, spoke so eloquently about Art Rooney when he said, Art Rooney was a man who loved his religion, he loved his wife Kathleen, he loved his family, he loved his football team, but he loved the individuals on that football team. He was a great man, and he left a legacy of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he left a lot of people wondering where, again, will a name like this come from? He's a very special man to so many of us. I can remember one time we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1963, and that was the first time the Steelers had a chance to go into a championship game. They had never known the taste of a championship. We beat them in the last minutes of those games, but before Art Rooney went to talk to his own ball club, he came into our locker room, congratulated the Maras, congratulated each and every one of the Giant players, and wished them well in the championship. That's the kind of individual Art Rooney Sr. was. Lynn Swann, of course, knows him well. Lynn Swann played 9 years for the Steelers during their glory years of the 70s. He joins us live now from Pittsburgh, where he was at the mass that was set for Art Rooney earlier today, just a couple of hours ago. And Lynn, I know you have many, many fond memories, but perhaps your most memorable thought about this great man.
Well, that's just the thing, Frank. There are so many great memories about Art Rooney Sr. You can never just find the one. And that's why earlier this afternoon there were so many people that came out to the church this afternoon to pay their last respects to the leader of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The funeral mass was held earlier this morning at 11 o'clock at St. Peter's Church on the north side. Dan Rooney and his wife Pat led the family into this church. Now it's interesting, this church, as you see the Commissioner Pete Rozelle, holds about 1,000 people. And there was some thought as to moving the mass to a larger church. Well, John McGinley, who was a brother-in-law of Art Rooney, said, you can't do that. St. Peter's is a church that he walked to and had mass every day. And besides, if you moved it, Art Rooney Sr. wouldn't show up for it. And that's the kind of man he was. He was a great man. And every time he had a chance to speak, every time he was being honored, instead of talking about himself or why he was being honored, he always took the moment to talk about others and his philosophy of life.
One thing in my lifetime that I could never figure out was why a person disliked another person because of his color, whether he was red, yellow, black, or white, or whether he was a Jew or a Christian, or whether he was a Protestant or a Catholic, that you disliked him because of the way he believed in God. I often said that I wondered what God would think.
Arthur J. Rooney Sr. was a living example of what any one of us wants to be. A winner without boasting. A husband and father who taught discipline yet showed great compassion. Like Santa Clauses on every street corner during the Christmas holiday, he seemed to be near whenever there was a need. Art Rooney treated everyone, the rich, the poor, young and old, only one way, with warm respect.
I was used to, going in and going where I was going, but with Art, he would stop and talk to everybody. Everybody knew him. It was that type of a situation. He was everybody's friend.
Rooney was born January 27, 1901 in Coultersville, Pennsylvania. His family moved to Pittsburgh in 1902. A college baseball player with promise, he also made the Olympic boxing team in 1920 but turned it down. Shortly thereafter, Art Rooney began to develop his love of horse racing that never ended. In 1933, Art Rooney bought for $2,500 the Pittsburgh Pirates football team, later to be named the Steelers. That happened just 2 years after he married Kathleen McNulty. Together they raised 5 sons and saw 29 grandchildren. Beyond his love of family and sports, Art Rooney had another gift, as Mike Webster, the All-Pro center, explains.
He's the kind of guy that would shake your hand and talk to you, and in those words that he said to you, it made you feel like you were somebody special, whether you've been here 10 years or 10 days.
In the 60s, though they were the same old losing Steelers, Art was enshrined at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Many people thought Art had become comfortable in a losing position.
Losing is terrible. I mean, I don't believe that there's anybody that's a good loser. Now, I have that reputation, and I had that reputation over all the years with the news media and with the owners in our league, but I doubt that anyone in sports took losing any harder than I did.
It took Chuck Noll, judicious drafting, a multiplicity of talent, and 42 years for Art Rooney to realize his first NFL championship. Although he would win 3 more in the next 5 years, that first Super Bowl was so hard to reach, no one wanted to let the Chief down.
I don't think that in his own mind he ever thought that it would happen. And I think that was one of the driving forces behind our football team, was to get one for the Chief. And it was a great feeling. Something that money can't buy, all the individualities can't buy. It was a team effort for one goal, and that was getting one for the Chief.
When I think of Art Rooney Sr., 2 things come to mind. He got the best out of every cigar he ever smoked or chewed. And the Chief got the best out of every day he ever lived. We all have our own way to remember Arthur J. Rooney Sr. Earlier you saw the footage of all the dignitaries around from the National Football League who came in to pay their respects. Owners and executives from various teams, Tex Ram from Dallas, Art Modell, and here with me now, someone that maybe a lot of people wouldn't expect to be here to some degree, Al Davis from the Los Angeles Raiders. And Al, you and Art Rooney Sr. had a very long relationship. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we did. We had a very long relationship. I was a young coach in the service way back in 1953, and I did some work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And since that time, when I had first met him, I had great love and admiration for him. It continues on today, and while we're deeply sorry we just love him, and we're here to offer our condolences to the Rooney family.
As a matter of fact, a while back, your wife was gravely ill, and Art Rooney was someone who called and basically was by your side emotionally the whole time, wasn't he?
Yes, he was that kind of guy. He had just human compassion for everything. Carol Davis, my wife, was in a coma for approximately 15 days, and I had the entire strength of the National Football League and the whole country behind me, and particularly Mr. Rooney, who would call regularly and just keep the vigil with me, although he was in Pittsburgh.
Finally, you're a very competitive man, and people know that. Most people didn't think of Art Rooney Sr. as being very competitive. How would you describe his competitive attitude?
Well, he had a subtle competitiveness because he loved to rub it in. You know, the Steelers hold the record for winning the most Super Bowls, 4, and I say with emotion that the Raiders have won 3. And many a times I would kid him that we're going to catch him. And when the Steelers started to lose in the late 70s, or actually the early 80s, I told him it would take another 40 years to get a Super Bowl. But last year, when we started to lose, he sent me a postcard and said, "You'll never catch us." So that was him. He just loved to joke. He loved to be around. I could tell so many stories. When I came across the bridge over the Monongahela River, I remember vividly the vicious battles with the Steelers in the 70s, how we used to come in, and then one season we came in, they had the National Guard out to protect the Raiders when we came into Pittsburgh, and the hotel, the army of fans, the thousands who used to be chanting out there.
Well, Al, you know you didn't really need it, so
no,
you were safe here.
Yeah, but we loved it, and
Okay.
He'll always be a memory. Great people never pass on. They just leave great memories with you, and certainly Art Rooney will be that in the hearts of all of us.
Okay, Al, thank you very much for taking the time to stop in. Right now we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. With us will be Art Modell, owner of the Cleveland Browns, and we'll get his remarks about Art Rooney Sr.
Fixing this water damage will cost $1,200. Could I have prevented it?
You improved Thompson's Water Seal could with 50% more active ingredients for better waterproofing on wood, brick, and concrete.